10 मिनट का 4:30 को स्टार्ट करता हूँ 4:25 हुआ 5 मिनट से
ఇప్పుడు
యాక్సెప్ట్ క్లిక్ చేస్తే వాళ్ళకి వెళ్తుంది
మెసేజ్ అంటే మీరు వాళ్ళకి
అంతేగాని అంటే వాళ్ళు యాక్సెప్ట్ కొట్టాను ఇంకో వాళ్ళు కనబడుతుంది
సో మీరు
వాళ్ళని చూడాలి ఒకసారి ఎందుకంటే వాళ్ళు ఉన్నారా లేదా సరే సీట్ ఒకటే ఉంది हाँ जानता हूँ 4 हो गया भाई 4 देते थे चलिए भाई कंटिन्यू कर दूँ पूछो एक ही कॉलेज है ना पूछो अभी ये सेक्शन ब्रेक दिया ना तब चलेगा बात करो ना से बात कर सकते हैं एक बार पूछेंगे सेकेंड सर से पूछेंगे आओ भाई अब सेकेंड सर को एक्सेप्ट करें
या ओके
अनम्यूट करो अनम्यूट यहाँ पर अनम्यूट करो अब उसको
या
अब बात करो
इट्स ओके
हेलो सर श्री वेंकटेश्वर कॉलेज श्री वेंकटेश्वर कॉलेज
या फाइन सर
हेलो सर
ओके कैरी ऑन विल कंटिन्यू सर
हाँ हेलो सर shall we continue the session okay actually I want to discuss some points with you is the session clear sir how was the topic that how was the PPT that we have shown and the examples that we have shown are they useful okay sir then we'll continue with the session sir okay thank you PPT share on continue sir I think most of the people trying to do this problem due to some time constraints we are starting it again and this is the problem that needs to be worked out in the session actually and there are some other problems set that you need to complete and update in portal we have kept already update links and all those things in the portal and you can find these tasks in the portal like this is a practice problem 1 here you will enter a random integers into the linked list and the insertion part that we have written the code there we need to do certain modifications such that the list that you have entered will result in an ascending order list output so this is one practice problem look at second practice problem where we have we need to implement an integer list and we need to ask the user where do you want to insert and what is the value that you want to insert if you consider this as input you want to insert 7 you will ask the user to enter the insert value that you want insert and the position value you want insert. Then if he gives us 7 and 2, then if you consider it as 0 position, 0, 1, 2, you need to insert 7 and move the other links, you need to link the other links to 7. This is one problem. This is problem set practice problem 2, and the third is a bit complex. We have seen the node structure and we have discussed that node structure can have any data in any number of data variables and one next pointing variable. So this is a scenario where you want to maintain the list of the companies and their turnovers, locations and their names, CEO names. So every node should contain a company name, turnover, and the location of the company and the CEO name. So and the next pointer. So this node, if you consider the node as a company node, it should have a data values of 4 data values and 1 next value. So try to implement this node structure and implement a linked list and try to insert some company details, and the program should take a company name and it should result in an output of the company details. For suppose if I inserted 2 companies, one is Google and one is Amazon, and I have inserted all the details for Google and I have inserted all the details for Amazon. When I run my application, if I give a name of, if I want the details of Google, if I give Google in the console, the output should be the details of the company, details of the Google. Similarly, you can, that is the sample input and output, and we'll look at other types of linked list. Till now we have studied linked list, single linked list, where we have a opportunity of moving, traversing in the forward direction, but we can't move to the backward direction. To do this, if you want to, if your application needs you to move forward and backward directions, then with a little extra space, like till now we are using only the data part and the next node. We will use another node, another address pointer which points to the previous. If you consider this example of a double linked list, here head point previous node is null because it is not pointing previously any node to null. So it will have a null value and it will have an address of the next value in this, and the next node will have a address of the head node for its previous path. So similar like this, we can have a last node which is pointing, which is not pointing to any node. So we will keep it null, its next node to null, and its previous node to its previous element. This is a simple example of a double linked list, and it's better you implement it with using the linked list structure that we have implemented, and with some extra memory we can do this thing. Similarly, circular linked list have its advantage when you implement a data structure like queues in a circular array. We'll look at the queue a bit later. Right now, circular linked list is nothing but we'll point the last node, its next address to the head node. So you better browse some examples of this circular linked list, and you'll get better idea of what is a circular linked list and what is what is double linked list, and what are the different applications that we need this, especially need these data structures other than single linked list. Now, just give me a 2 minutes. We'll upload. We'll carry on with the next session. I need to upload my second session PPT. Welcome back. Welcome back. Till now, we have seen array data structure, linked list data structure. We have seen both advantages and disadvantages of both the data structures. Then, in this part, this is the last part, and we'll study about stacks and queues. Then, why if we have learned arrays and data linked list, then why do we need stacks and queues? So, we have seen in implemented linked list such that we are removing the last element. Consider a scenario. We'll discuss about the scenario a bit later. We are removing it. If we consider a linked list, we are removing it at the last and we are inserting at the last. Suppose that if you want a data structure which always inserts at the last and always deletes at the last, or which always inserts at the front and always removes at the back, at the rare position of the array or the linked list. So stacks and queues are nothing but special implementation of a linked list or an array. It's nothing but we can implement stacks and queues using linked list or an array. In this session, we will implement the linked list stacks and queues using the linked list. The learning objectives of this session is you will try to understand. You will be able to understand different operations in the queue IDT and understand the stack and queue through some applications. We will discuss the application a bit later. Prerequisites of this thing is of this part of session is you need to know better implementation of arrays and linked list. As we already implemented linked list, we need to do some modifications so that we can say how stack so that we can modify it to a stack thing. Let us consider the scenarios where do we use the stack. Like if you are using a web browser, you will be noticing that when you insert an URL into the browser. Let's look at the browser thing. Let us look at the browser thing. If I just a minute. If I browse, you can see that backward and the forward, like it's a move, we will use mostly to move between the web pages that we have already browsed. These two are not enabled because we haven't browsed anything yet. So let us take some, let us enter some URL. So we have browsed it. Then the left backward part is enabled because the last URL that we that is there already is stored in a stack. So it is pushed onto a stack. Then if you are browsing some other website like gmail.com, see, then it will push this google.com page to the top of it. So if you want to navigate, it needs to the last page that we browsed is google.com. That will be placed at the top of the stack. So if you click back button, will pop the top element, that is nothing but google.com, and it will load in this page. Like it popped the last once it popped, you can see that there is a forward stack enabled. In this forward stack, it will store the last web page that we browsed. That is nothing but gmail.com. So if you want to move it to the front, then you click the front. Then it will pop the front element from the front queue. So it will load the gmail.com page. So it's nothing but a stack application. Browsing a net is nothing but a stack application. So actually we tried to implement this with animation, but it haven't completed. Sorry for that. But we'll make sure that it is completed and it will be uploaded in the portal, and you can check the animation for a clear view of the thing. Similarly, another scenario where we use the notepad and word processors, where we edit the text, and when we press Ctrl Z, we can see that the things that we have altered will be again coming back. So these are the scenarios where we particularly need stack. So let us look what is stack data structure. Stack data structure is nothing but last in first out. So the element that you inserted the last, that will be the first that comes out of the list, that comes out of the stack. So if you consider this stack here, this is a stack. So you are pushing elements like A, B, C, D, like you have pushed it in reverse order, like you have a list of A, B, C, D, E, F. So you have pushed the F first, next E, next D, next C, next B. At the last, you push A. If you try to pop out of this list, what will be coming first? As we inserted the last element A, that will be popped first. So A will be popped first, then B will be popped first, next, then C will be popped, then D will be popped, and E will be popped. F is the last element that will be popped. That will be popped out of the list. If you try to pop, once all the list is out of the stack, then we'll get we'll say that stack is empty. This stack, if you consider this stack is used, we have seen two scenarios. It also used in some programmatic scenarios, like if you are using a recursive function calls, those function calls will be implemented using a stack. This stack function calling we'll see the animation at the end of the session, because we'll show it with a project. So let us now look at different operations that exist in stack through some simulation. Okay, let's look at the example of stack simulation. Like stack has basically two functions that we discussed already, that it has a push and a pop. In the last slide we have seen that we have pushed a string, a character character string like A, B, C, D, E, F, and we have popped it out. Now, let us see with integers what it will happen. See, if you push 12, it is similar to the linked data structure that we have seen, but we are calling this pointer as head in the linked list. Now, we will call this as a top because we need to pop the elements from the top. Okay? Then, if you try to push another element into this thing, the top is moved. You see that? If you notice the difference between the linked list animation and stack animation, head is every time pointing to the starting element. Now, in the case of stack, the top is pointing to the element that needs to be deleted first. So, if you push one more element, so top is moved to 56. Then, if you try to pop out element from it, it will remove the 56. Then, again, if you want to pop it out, it will remove the top element. So that is nothing but 34. It removes the thing. And if you pop it again, it will remove the 12 value. And if you try to pop when the list is empty, it should say stack is empty. I think you have better understood the scenario. Let's get back to the PPT. So this is example that I need to implement in the class. Before implementing this, if I try as time is not more, so I will show you the code that I have modified linked list code for the stack. So to understand better, we will look at the code of what I have modified. Let us look at the code of how I modified the linked list to do the base to do the that's right. Okay. How I modify the linked list that suits the needs of a stack. This declaration, as we already know, this is nothing but a declaration of the node structure, and here we declare, instead of head, we declare it as a top and the temp variable, which I use to display the last, used it in deleting the variable. So we at the initial stage I have initiated both the top and temp to null. Then if in the first case, my operation here is push operation. If I push, if the top element equal to null, this is the basic case, then the list is empty. So top we are assigning the memory, then we are assigning its next value to the null because it doesn't point to any other nodes. Then we'll keep the top dot data is equal to whatever the data that we want to insert. We'll keep it in top dot data. Else, if the list is already instantiated, then we'll create a new node and we'll keep the data in the new node, and we'll move the top next, as the next node should be on the top. New node dot next is equal to, we'll create a new node dot next. We are pointing the new node dot next value to the top, because top value should be this thing top. Then we move the node that newly, then we move the top pointer to the newly created node, because we at the end, while we are popping the elements, we need to element that last recently inserted into the list. That is nothing but the new node. So we are pointing the top to the new node. Now this display function is I made it somewhat look like it should look made it to look like stack implementation, and we will not go into it. And while we look at the code for popping, like if you have a code like if you want to delete an element when the list is empty, then it will say that stack is empty. It should say that stack is empty. Otherwise, we'll point the temporary variable to the top, then we'll move the temp value to the top value to the top next, so that we should not lose the top pointer. So then we'll print the data in the top, because we want to know what the element that is deleted. So I have printed the data, and now I am assigning the temp variable to null, so that this variable, this top that we referred with temp, that no longer exists after this point. So this is the basic implementation of a linked list, and I just did some modifications to the linked list implementation, and I've shown you the thing. And just for the sake of how it looks, we'll just run and see how this stack works. Just compile the stack implementation, implemented, just compile it, then the stack, I'll run this stack implementation. Now, similar to that linked list menu, we have a insert element, remove element, display elements, and all those things. Let us try to insert, delete, let us try to remove element, because the list is empty, and if we try to delete, it should say me that stack is empty. So I will try to remove. It says me that stack is empty. So I need to insert some elements. So if I try to insert element one random integer is inserted. I will insert few more elements, like 4 elements. 1. Now I want to check how the elements are inserted into the list. I will display the list. See, it has 19, 91, 1, 85, and 30. If I insert one more element, where should it insert? It should insert at the position at the top, and it should move the top variable. So I will try to insert one more element. Okay. Now it should come before 19. Let us check. 3. See, it inserted a random integer 63 before 19, and the top is pointing to the 63. Now let us try to remove the element. What is the element that needs to be removed? That is nothing but which is inserted, the most recently inserted. That is nothing but last in first out. So we will try to remove the element 2. So it removed element 63. So if we want to cross check that the program is displaying the 63, or it really deleted the element from the list stack, let us check and see. 3. See, now top is pointing to 19, so 63 is deleted. So I will continuously remove the elements. What happens? So if I continuously removing the elements, it first deleted 19, then 91, then 85, then 13, then there is no elements to delete. It says that stack is empty. So this is the basic implementation of the stack. Just you can do some minor changes to your linked list code and you'll get this thing. Okay, let us get back to our PPT. Okay, then it's time for your workout. Then what are the different tasks that you need to work out? Just in, here the first workout is parenthesis matching. See, we have given some input cases and test code output cases. We'll put the framework for this code as you can get the stack code from the portal. Just you need to modify. You need to modify the code, stack code, such that you store some string values. Like if you consider this input, it is a string input, and then we need to split this string into characters, each parenthesis as a character. So we need to modify our previous stack code such that it stores a character data and the next pointer. Then need to implement the parenthesis matching code. So the code we have a test run of the code, but if you want the test run of the code, just give me a message on the chat.
Proceed, sir.
How it works, I will show you how
I'm
the
responding.
input and output looks. And if you want to work it out,
I'm responding.
just
sir, I'm
reply
saying
me that you want to work it out for some time, and we'll carry on with the next data structure, that is nothing but queue. Once we understand the
Just show
stack
the
thing.
sample run.
Hello. Hello, sir. Venkateshwara College. What's that? Sir, do you want to work it on this? If you want to work it on it, you can work, or if you want to look at the sample run of the application, I will just show you the sample run. Okay, sir. Just wait a minute. I will share my desktop. Okay. Okay. Now, we'll look at some. Just I'll close the previous windows and show you the. This is for my reference. I have kept some input thing. I will run it and also.
Yes, sir.
Java C Paramatch. This is my program name.
Hello. వస్తుందండి. వస్తుంది.
So here it is asking me to enter a string which contains of an expression, like you can give the expression or you can just give the parenthesis for checking the thing. Hello, sir, చెప్పండి. Sir, are you getting it? Are you getting the thing? Sir, సార్ వస్తుందా మీకు? డెస్క్టాప్ షేరింగ్ వస్తుందా? ఓకే ఓకే. We'll copy this string and we'll check if the string is a perfect match or not. Now we'll enter the input. This is the input that I want to enter. Let's check. This is data, no such field. Just a minute, sir. Java language, no such. No such field, error, parent match level. Input character. String data. Try to run it again. Java parent match. Java. And inside. Let us remove these spaces and check. Okay, there is some error in stack. Actually, I am using a backend stack. It's showing me some error, like at position 22.
Okay.
Character data. The stack is, I modified that so that I can store a character. Char data top data is equal to data.
Okay.
Sir, session will be done in another 15 more minutes. Sir, there is problem with some code thing, sir. We'll carry on with the queues data structure. Yes, I'll share the code framework so that you can work on it. I will check all the errors and I'll keep it. Okay, sir? We have some more. We have some more problems that needs to be done by you, like implementing a browser scenario using a command prompt. The scenario that I have shown you, you can implement using two stacks. One is storing for the backward browse list, and one is for the forward browse list, and you can use the functions push and pop. So that you can push the URL into stack and pop the URL into stack, and just you can do it with a console type of thing. It is good to implement this task, but because you'll be knowing you'll be getting a better understanding of what stack is in real world application. Then you need to work on one more real world application, that is nothing but converting a postfix expression, infix expression into a postfix expression. We have given the equations, and this infix to postfix expression will be used in expression calculation we will see in the explanation of the web calculator project at the end of this session. These are the two. There is one more real world scenario, that is we need to write a factorial program, which is a recursive factorial program. Then we need to check how many times push is called and how many times pop is called, so that you will understand how this stack is used in the internal method calling. We have system related method stacks in the operating system, so you will get a better idea of what is that method calling stack look like and how it does it work. These are three real world scenarios that you need to work on. And coming to queues, why do we learn queues? Consider we have looked at just a minute. We have looked at the stack implementation, right? If you consider a scenario of an organization which has a network printer and there are many users, and every user wants to print their documents. If you consider F is the first person to submit his print job, then E submitted his print job, then D is submitted his print job, then C submitted his print job, then B submitted, then A submitted, and then the queue started processing this thing, and then the stack started processing this thing. The first request that is processed will be from the user A, that is the person who last requested. The person who first requested will stay in the stack till all the others requests have been done. Then the the first requested person will be processed. So it is not a best suited data structure for scenario like a network printer scenario in an organization. So this is a queue scenario where queues are mostly implemented, and we have other implementation, other applications where queue is most appropriate, and we'll look at it in a few slides later. Let us come to queue data structure's definition. How does the queue data structure work? It works with the philosophy of first in, first out. Let us consider you have a string of characters which are considered in the stack example, like A, B, C, D, E, F, A, B, C, D, E, F. Like, then if you enqueue it will push F element first, then E, then D, then C, then A. If you try to process this list, it will dequeue the first element, that is nothing but the element that is inserted at the first. So the element that is inserted at the first will be processed first. So we can see that this queue structure is better suited than stack for a scenario like network printer in an organization. Let us look at queue simulation and understand its operations in a better way. Now let us look at the queue simulation. It is similar to that of a stack, but here we have an operations like enqueue and dequeue. How do we enqueue and how do we dequeue? Let us look at it. Let us try to enqueue an element. Here we have seen that in stack case we have one pointer that is known as top, where from we remove the elements. Here we have two pointers, rear and front, so that we can remove at the rear and we can insert at the front. So if you want to insert a new element, now what will it do? It will move the front and it will keep the rear position at the last. So if you try to insert another element, it insert one more element and it will move the front pointer. If I insert another element, it will insert and move the front. Similarly, if you want to DQ, it should remove the element from the last, because 12, if you consider these as the print jobs that are submitted by different persons, each has a value of certain seconds or certain thing. So the first person who requested 12 pages will be at the rear, so it should be deleted first. So it processes the first element, first thing, and moved the rear to the next element. Then if the application is now processing the second thing, it should process the 34 request from the person who requested 34. So it will process the last element. Then if you request, then again it will process. Then again it will process the 21. Then if you try to dequeue, it will say the queue is already empty. So all the jobs that you have given is already done. So let us come back to our section. Now we'll see another real world application where we'll use queue. Most of us will use different data structures, like we'll use different operating systems. Each operating systems will have certain CPU scheduling algorithms. We'll try to use this concept of CPU scheduling by using a queue data structure. In this section, we'll look at a round robin. We have different CPU scheduling algorithms. In this, we have different scheduling algorithms like round robin, priority based, and all those things. Let us consider a round robin scenario. What is actually a round robin scenario is? I will explain some basic what is a round robin scenario is. The round robin scenario is if you are giving n tasks to a CPU to process, it will allocate 1 by n, if you understand, 1 by number of tasks, 1 by nth time for each task to process, and it will process that every task for the particular time, and it will move if the task is not completed, again it will move the task to the last of the list, last of the queue, to process it in a round robin process. It will continue this process until the task is completed. Let us look at the scenario. Let us look at the implementation of this round robin schedule. Okay, I'll share my desktop. Let us consider we have a jobs file where it stores what are the current jobs that are existing on that wants the CPU time to process. Let's take an example of 3 tasks, like first task takes 30 seconds, second task takes 20 seconds, and the third task takes 5 seconds. Here we have n elements. N in the sense n tasks means we have 3 tasks. Looking at this, we have 3 tasks. So ideally, in a round robin scheduling algorithm, it will take 1 by 3 time processing time for allocate 1 by 3 CPU time for every task. It processes the first task, and process the first task for 1 by 3 time, then it will move this task to the end of the queue, then it will process the second task for 1 by 3 time, then it will move to the end of the queue, and task 3, and so on until the tasks are completed. So let us consider if you take 1 by n, it will be like 1 by 3 will be equal to 0.9 seconds or something. So for our simplicity, in our example, I have implemented by taking as a CPU time as 5 seconds. I am not considering it as 1 by n. I am taking it as 5 seconds because my simple task here is 5 seconds. So I started with random 5. It's up to you, whatever you want to do it. Then we look at how the program runs. So, okay, I need to open my command prompt. Then now just we'll compile the CPU scheduling algorithm. Again, run the code. Now if you look at it, it is processing the requests in the file till all the tasks have been completed. See, if you want to look at it, before this task, before this thing, we have like you see that task 1 has 30 seconds, task 2 needs 20 seconds, task 3 needs 5 seconds. It will process 5 seconds from 30 seconds, and it will dequeue this from the queue, and it will process 5 seconds. So the remaining time for the task 1 is 25, and it will pop at the last of the queue. Again, then the task 2 is ready for the process. So it will process 5 seconds from the 20 seconds that is needed. So it will process 5 seconds from the 20, and it will push the task 2 at the last. The remaining time is 15 for the task 2. Then it will keep the task, meanwhile it keeps the task 3 for processing. Since task 3 requires only 5 seconds, which is already CPU allotted time for this task, so it will process and it won't enqueue it again. At this stage, you can see only the task 1 and task 2. So now it will process 5 seconds out of 25, and it pushes it at the last, task 1 20. Similarly, task 2 we have 15. It will process 5 and it will enqueue it in the next stage. So task 2 takes 10 seconds. So by some time you will see that task 1 15 and task 2 5. It will process 5 and it will push at the last. Task 1 requires 10 seconds, 10 more seconds to complete. And task 2 requires 5 seconds, which is already allotted by which is the allotted time by the CPU. So it processes the task 2 and it won't enqueue it again. So it will process the next 5 seconds out of it and it pushes, and it will process the last 5 seconds of the task 1, and the queue is empty. So this is a good real world example to implement a queue with CPU scheduling. It's better you try with other scheduling algorithms like priority and first come first serve algorithm, CPU scheduling algorithms with this, and this is example. Actually, we need to work it out in the session. Then it's a time for you to work out on some real world scenarios. the first task that you need to work on is try to implement a queue with using two stacks. How do you implement a queue with two stacks? See, if you insert A, B in a queue, what is the output that we want to get? A, B, right? So, first we insert A, B in a stack and we pop all the elements from the stack. What do we get? BA. Then, if we insert BA in the second stack and if we pop out, what will you get? AB. So, in our program, if you give an input of AB, which is taken by the first stack, and the jobs order is reversed, and then it will be pushed into the second stack, then the jobs order is again reversed, then we will get the AB. So, it's nothing but, it's similar to a stack scenario, where we inserted A first, and then B next. We are getting the output as A first and the B next. So please try to implement this thing. It will give a better insight into the operations of stack. Similarly, try to implement how we implement. We have edited the stack in the linked list so that it works as a stack by placing a pointer known as top. Now let us modify the linked list code by keeping pointers top, front and rear, and we'll try to implement the queue implementation using the linked list. So in the practice to problem 2, we have discussed the CPU scheduling algorithm using a linked list implementation. Try to implement using it with an array. Next, by the time you come for the next session in the next week, we are expected you to complete some real world projects. The resources related to these projects will be uploaded in the portal, and you'll also can look at the animations which are also uploaded in the portal. I'll show you and explain what these projects are and what you need to do and what your program should look like. So here we have two projects like polynomial evaluation and web calculator. Basically, polynomial evaluation is a thing like we'll give the polynomials to polynomial equations and we'll do the arithmetic operations on it. And this is the real world implementation of linked list. We can use this, we can implement this scenario, this project using a linked list. We'll look at the animation and we'll get a clear view. And similarly, web calculator is an application of stack, real world application of stack. And we'll look at the animation of it and we'll get to know how the stack is useful when calculating an expression. Okay, let us now look at polynomial simulation, linked list application simulation. Okay. Okay, let us look at linked list project. See, I don't know that this text is clearly visible as we have choose a random color. We'll change it for the next session. So if you have an equation like dx cube plus ax square plus bx plus c, you need to give the input in such a way that d coefficient comma 3, which is the exponent, separated by 2 columns, and coefficient dA comma exponent of 2. So this equation should be given like this to work with this application. Let us consider an example of two equations, 2 comma x cube, nothing but 2x cube, 3x square. This is the equation I have given in the first input. If I give another equation here, 1x square, nothing but 1 comma 2, double quotes. I'll give a constant term here, like 5 comma, constant term x power is 0. So, let us look how the animation, how in real world linked list is used to calculate this equation, some of these equations. Let us look at this equation. So these are the linked list. If you remember, we have given two equations like 2x cube and 3x square, which is taken as this application taken as a linked list, single linked list. And we have given another equation 1x square and 5 to the x power of 0, which is nothing but a constant term. Then in addition, what it will do is it will check for the similar powers. See, if we have a power 3 here, in this equation we doesn't have a power 3. So what it will do? It will output a linked list node with 2x cube. It will check first, and it outputted a new linked list with 2x cube, and it is pointing to null. So it compared with these elements, and no power of 3 exists. So it has given the same thing as the output. Next, it will check for the powers of 2. As we have done with powers of 3, now it will check for the powers of 2. As we look at this thing, we will find the powers of 2 in the first equation as well as in the second equation. So when the powers are same, then what it will do, it will add the coefficients. Here 3, it is 1. So it will add the coefficients, and the power remains the same, and it will keep it to the output. Like 4x square, because 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. So it will link to the already existing node like this, and it will point to null. Then as we check the element for the powers of 2, then we will check the element for the powers of 1. There doesn't exist any elements with the powers of 0, so it doesn't keep any output. Then we will check the elements for the powers of 0 in both the things. So there exists only one element, 5 comma 0, so it keeps the node as it is. So if we consider the resultant output, what we can see is 2x cube, 2 is the coefficient, x cube is the power, exponent of it, 4 is the coefficient, 2 is the exponent, 2 is the power of it, exponent, 5 is the coefficient, and 0 is the power. So our equation is 2x cube, 4x square, 5. That's it. So this is how in real world the linked list is used to calculate the addition of the polynomial equation. Now let us consider the same example. 2x cube, 3x square and 1x square. 1x square, 5, same equations. Let us consider the same equations, and this time we will look at multiplication operation, how it is done in linked list. These are the two equations that are formed. Then it will check for the powers of 3. It will check for the powers of 3. No, not powers of 3. It will multiply every node in the equation 1 with every node in the equation 2. So let us consider this equation. In the first linked list, we have 2, comma 3. So it is multiplying with the 1 comma 2 node. So 2 multiplies with 1, which results in 2. X power 3 multiplies with x power 2. Since bases are equal, we just add the quotients. So we will get 2 power 5. Similarly, in the next stage, we will multiply the first node of the first equation with the second node of the second equation. So if you multiply 2 with 5, we will get a 10. Then x power 3 into x power 0, as the bases are equal, we will add 3 plus 0, we will get a power of 3. In the next stage, we will multiply second element of the first equation with the first element of the second equation. So in this case, 3 is multiplied with 1 will result in 3, and 2 is multiplied, x power 2 is multiplied with x power 2 here. So both the bases are equal, so both the bases are x, so we will add the powers, like 2 plus 2 will result in 4. Then we will multiply the second element from the first equation with the second element in the second equation. See, we will get 3 into 5, which is a 15, as bases are equal for this multiplication. 2 plus 0 is nothing but 2. So what is the resulting equation at the end? 2 into x power 5, 10x cube, 3x power 4, 5x square. The order may be different, the output is same. So this is how we implement the arithmetic operations on linked list, arithmetic operations on polynomial equations, these polynomial equations using the linked list. I think it is clear for you how to use a linked list for doing this polynomial evaluation. I am continuing with my second project, that is nothing but web calculator, where we use stacks to evaluate equations. Let us see this this animation. How does it work? See, I will give an equation like 3 into 4 by 2 into 6. This is my input equation. So if I want to process this, first I need to convert. This is a given equation. To process this, I need to convert it into the postfix expression first. To convert it into the postfix expression, I will use a stack. You can see a stack here. It's not named as a stack, but this is a stack, and this is the pointer which we can see is a top pointer. First, it is pointing out of the stack. Then, as we move, it will insert the operands into the stack and the variables to the output expression. This is a string variable where we are appending the non-operands to it. So it will push the star, then it will append the 4. You can differentiate the processing element by the color. It shows in green which is processing. So then it processes a division which is a higher equal priority with the already existing element in the stack. So it will pop the stack and will push the division and multiplication have the same precedence You need to know the precedence thing for the arithmetic precedence things to know this. Since both these have the same precedence, we popped the star multiplication operand and we appended to the equation and we pushed the division into the stack. Now, next processed element is 2. It will be appended to the equation. It will be appended to the string. Then we encounter with a operand, next operand star. So again multiplication and division has the same precedence. So division will be popped out and added to the notation. Then star will be pushed into it. See, you can see that star is pushed into it. Then it processes the 6 and it is appended to the output expression, output variable, string variable. And you can see that this equation is completely processed. Everything is in green. And there is an element that is once this equation comes to an end, you can see, you can pop all the elements that are existed in the stack and we need to append it to the string variable, string postfix variable. So you can look now, stack is empty. And we got what we got is a postfix expression. Now we'll use this postfix expression to evaluate the value of the given expression. It is a similar process that we have done to convert an infix to postfix notation. The main difference that exists here is, in the first case, we inserted operands like star, division and all those things. In this next case, while we are evaluating this postfix expression, we will move the operands into the stack. There is a little bit of confusion between operands and operators, so kindly bear with me. So here in this case, we will move the values, and whenever we encounter a operand like star, division, we will pop top 2 elements and process that, and we will put the result in the stack. Let us look how it is done. First, we encountered value 3 and it pushed into the stack. Then we encounter the value 4 and it is pushed onto the top of the stack. Then we encountered a value star. So we need to pop 2 elements out of Q and we need to perform the operand that we encountered. That is nothing but star. We have operated this thing 3 into 4. The result is 12. We need to store this result at the top of the stack. So we'll push it to the top of the stack. Then we'll process the next element. That is nothing but 2. So when we process 2, it's an operand. It just pushes onto the top of the stack. Again, we came across an operator division. So we need to pop top 2 elements from the queue and perform this division operation on those 2 operands. So the top 2 operands in the queue is 2 and 12. So it will pop 2 and 12 and it will perform a division and it will store the result. Again it will store the result in stack. Next we will come across 6. So it just pushes the 6 again into the top, onto the top, you can see. Then we will come across an operator star. Then we need to pop these 2 elements and we need to perform this operator or these operands and we will store the result 6 and then we'll be processing these two and we'll store the result. Once we store the result in the stack, we'll just look at the postfix expression. We have everything is in green, means that everything is processed. When everything in this thing is processed, just pop this element and pop the top element and give it as a result of your expression. That is nothing but 36. So here we have given 3 into 4 by 2 by 2 into 6, and we have converted into a postfix notation 3, 4, star, 2, division, 6, multiplication. Then we have evaluated the equation and we got the result, which is stored at the top of the cube, and the result is given as a result of your equation. So this is implementing this will give an experience of the real world application, how really stack is powerful, and you'll be appreciating how this data structures, how these basic data structures are working. You can think of if these basic data structures can work this efficiently and can support these many real world applications, you can't imagine how the
Suresh,
powerful applications, powerful data structures like B trees that we started earlier, discussed earlier at the start of this section, which are used in
మరి
databases
సెషన్
and all
ఎప్పుడు
those
ఉంటుంది
things,
సార్? మీరు అంటే
be powerful to
అసెస్మెంట్లు
implement
అంటే మామూలు
the things.
టాస్క్ ఎప్పుడు ఇస్తారు? మెయిల్ పంపిస్తారా?
That's end. That is the end from my side. And you'll be having all these things
okay,
in the portal for your view.
Okay.
And we'll have a 2 minutes session for question and answer. If you are really,
సార్ ఈరోజు బాగానే అర్థమైంది సార్. ఏం
you can give the feedback in this. No, this is not meant for question and answer,
yes, sir,
but
sir.
not limited to question and answer. You can give the feedback on the section, and I hope I have done my part good.
ఓకే 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 తెలుసు కదా మాకు. ఏమంటే మా ఫ్రెండ్ ఇంకొక మెంటరు మెయిల్ పంపిస్తారు అది ఇది అంటే.
Sir. Are you satisfied with whatever the examples, real world examples that I have shown and the implementation and the explanation?
ksuresh82@gmail.com అంతే కదా? ఓకే సురేష్.
ఇది మేము ఇది పోర్టల్లో ఉంటాయి సార్ టాస్క్ అన్నీ.
ఏం లేవు, క్వశ్చన్స్ ఏం లేవు.
రిసోర్సెస్ కూడా పోర్టల్లోనే ఉంటాయి.
మీరు ఎక్కడ సురేష్ గారు? లోకలేనా? హైదరాబాద్?
You can get all the resources, all the animations and all those in the portal.
కాకినాడ. ఓకే ఓకే సురేష్.
అంటే
ఓకే ఓకే
ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ అవి క్లియర్ గా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేశానా సార్? ఓకే సార్. అంటే ఇప్పుడు
ఓకే ఓకే
పోర్టల్లో లింక్స్ ఉంటాయి సార్. వన్స్ యూ హావ్ డన్ విత్ ద ప్రోగ్రామ్స్
మెయిల్ పెడతామండి.
యూ కెన్ అప్లోడ్ చేయొచ్చు సార్ మీరు. ఓకే
ఓకే ఓకే అండి.
జస్ట్ నేను ఇన్ఫార్మ్ చేయను నా ఇది అనమాట. అండ్ వన్ మోర్ థింగ్, ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎనీ ఫీడ్బ్యాక్ ఆన్ మై సెక్షన్, మీరు నా మెయిల్ ఐడి నోట్ చేసుకున్నారు కదా, యూ కెన్ సెండ్ ద ఫీడ్బ్యాక్ టు మై.
ఓకే సార్. ఓకే సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ అండి.
అవును సార్, అవును సార్.
ఓకే ఓకే. మా 4 members
from your side, sir?
4 members ని.
Any additions
Pawan.
that you want?
Okay, last person is Pawan. My name is Allu Yadav, and remaining one Ramakant and Ali Khan.
Is students?
ఓకే అండి, బాయ్ అండి సార్.
సార్ నాది కాకినాడ సార్.
ఓకే థ్యాంక్ యూ అండి.
నేను ఇక్కడ ట్రిపుల్ వర్క్ చేస్తున్నాను. అంటే ఇక్కడ డైరెక్ట్ గా మీ ఆల్రెడీ ఇక్కడికి వచ్చిన